She found the message at 11:47 p.m. on a Tuesday night. And that single moment, that one quiet, ordinary Tuesday, split her entire life into two halves, the before and the after. But here's what nobody ever tells you about betrayal. The cheating? That wasn't what broke her. No, it was what came after. It was the lie. The one lie that grew legs, grew teeth, grew a heartbeat of its own, and swallowed everything she thought was real. If you think you know how this story ends, I promise you, you don't. Let me take you back to the beginning. Her name was Adaize. People called her Ada. She was 26 years old, living in a small one-bedroom apartment in Surulere, Lagos. She wasn't the loudest person in the room. She wasn't the flashiest. But if you knew her, you knew one thing about Ada. She loved with everything she had. She was the kind of woman who would give you the last money in her account and tell you she was fine. She would skip lunch to make sure her man had credit on his phone. She was the type that believed love was something you built with your bare hands, brick by brick, even when your fingers were bleeding. And then there was Chidi. Chidi was handsome in that careless way that made women look twice. Tall, dark skin, a smile that made you forget what you were angry about. He worked at a logistics company on the mainland. He wasn't rich, but he carried himself like a man who knew where he was going. When he walked into a room, you noticed him. When he spoke, you listened. And when he told Ada he loved her for the first time, 6 months into their relationship, she believed him with every single bone in her body. Or they had been together for 2 years, 2 full years. And if you asked anyone around them, her friends, his boys, even the woman who sold rice at the junction near their street, they would all tell you the same thing. Those two? They are going to marry. It's just a matter of time. And Ada believed it too. She believed it so deeply that she had already started saving for Aso-Ebi fabric. She had already imagined the venue. She had already pictured the children. 2 boys and a girl, she always said, laughing. She had already built a future in her mind, and Chidi was standing right at the center of it. But life has a way of pulling the rug from under your feet when you're standing the tallest. It was a Tuesday night. Lagos had been hot all day, the kind of heat that sits on your skin even after the sun goes down. Ada was lying in bed, scrolling through her phone, waiting for Chidi to reply to her goodnight message. He had been acting different lately, not in a big way, not in a way you could point to and say, "There, that's the problem." It was small things. He was slower to reply. He laughed less on the phone. He canceled plans more often. He said he was tired a lot. He said work was stressful. And Ada, because she loved him, because she trusted him, because she was the kind of woman who always chose to see the best in people, she believed him. But that night, something told her to pick up his iPad. He had left it at her place 2 days ago. She wasn't snooping. At least, that's what she told herself. She just wanted to watch a movie. She opened it, and the screen lit up. And right there, still open, was a conversation on WhatsApp. And the messages were between Chidi and a woman named Blessing. Ada's hands started shaking before her brain even caught up. She read the messages. One by one, slowly, like walking through broken glass with bare feet. The words cut her, but she kept going. There were sweet names. There were voice notes. There were pictures, the kind of pictures you don't send to someone who is just a friend. And then she saw the date on one message. It was from the Saturday before. The same Saturday, Chidi told her he was going to see his cousin in Ikeja. He wasn't in Ikeja. He was with Blessing. Ada sat on that bed for 45 minutes without moving. She didn't cry. She didn't scream. She just sat there, staring at the screen, feeling the floor fall away beneath her. It was like the world had tilted slightly to the left, and nothing looked the same anymore. When she finally called Chidi the next morning, her voice was calm. Too calm. She asked him one question. Who is Blessing? And this is where the story takes a turn that nobody expected. Chidi could have told the truth. Right there, in that moment, he could have said, Ada, I made a mistake. I'm sorry. He could have begged. He could have cried. He could have been honest. And maybe, just maybe, Ada would have found a way to forgive him. Because that's who she was. She had a heart that bent before it broke. But Chidi didn't tell the truth. Instead, he laughed. He actually laughed. And then he said, Blessing, she's my colleague. What are you talking about? Are you going through my things now? He flipped it. Just like that. In one smooth, practiced move, and he turned the spotlight away from his sin and pointed it straight at her. You're insecure, Ada. This is the problem. You don't trust me. You're always looking for something to be angry about. And Ada, strong, loving, patient Ada, felt something crack inside her. Not because she believed him, but because for a moment, just one terrible moment, she doubted herself. Maybe I'm overreacting, she thought. Maybe I'm reading too much into it. But she wasn't. And deep down, she knew it. Over the next few weeks, Chidi didn't just lie. He built an entire fortress out of lies. He deleted messages. He changed passwords. He started coming home later and explaining less. And every time Ada asked a question, every single time she tried to bring it up, he made her feel like she was the problem. You're too emotional. You're suffocating me. No man will tolerate this kind of behavior. He said these things so often and with such conviction that Ada started to believe them. She stopped asking questions. She stopped checking. She started apologizing for things she never did. She started walking on eggshells in her own relationship, terrified of making him angry, terrified of losing him. And that right there was the real damage. The cheating was a wound. But the lies, the manipulation, the gaslighting, that was poison. Slow poison. The kind that doesn't kill you all at once. It kills you in pieces. It takes your confidence first, then your voice, then your sense of self. Until one day you wake up and you don't even recognize the person staring back at you in the mirror. Ada lost weight. Her friends noticed. But her mother called and said, Ada, what is wrong? You don't sound like yourself. And Ada would say, I'm fine, Mummy. Just work stress. The same excuse Chidi used to give her. She had become a shadow of herself. And the worst part? She blamed herself for it. But then something happened. One Sunday afternoon, Ada went to visit her older sister, Nkechi, in Yaba. Nkechi was the kind of woman who didn't sugarcoat anything. She took one look at Ada and said, Sit down, talk to me, and don't you dare lie. And for the first time in months, Ada opened her mouth and told the truth. All of it. The messages, the lies, the way Chidi twisted everything, the way she felt like she was going crazy, the way she had started to believe that maybe she really was the problem. Nkechi listened without interrupting, and when Ada finished, her sister leaned forward, looked her straight in the eye, and said something that changed everything. Ada, a man who makes you doubt your own eyes is more dangerous than a man who breaks your heart. Heartbreak heals. But when someone teaches you not to trust yourself, that damage stays. Those words hit Ada like cold water on a hot day. She sat there, blinking, as the fog she had been living in for months slowly began to clear. She went home that night and did something she hadn't done in a long time. She sat alone in her room, turned off her phone, and asked herself one question. If my best friend told me this story, what would I tell her to do? The answer came immediately, and it was loud. Leave. But leaving wasn't the hard part. The hard part was what came next. When Ada told Chidi it was over, he didn't shout. He didn't beg. He did something worse. He cried. Real tears. He held her hands and said, "Ada, I swear, nothing happened. You're the only one I love. Please don't do this. I'll change. I promise." And for one heartbreaking second, she almost believed him. Almost. Because his tears were convincing. Because his voice was soft. Because the man standing in front of her looked exactly like the man she fell in love with 2 years ago. But Ada had learned something. She had learned that some people don't cry because they're sorry. They cry because they're about to lose control. And Chidi's tears weren't for her. They were for himself. She pulled her hands away. She picked up the bag she had packed, and she walked out of that apartment without looking back. The weeks after were brutal. She cried every night. She questioned her decision every morning. She missed him in a way that felt physical, like something had been ripped from her chest. Her phone felt heavy with the urge to call him. Some nights, she typed out long messages and stared at them for hours before deleting every word. But she didn't go back. And slowly, not all at once, but slowly, something started to come back. Her appetite returned. She started laughing again. Real laughter, not the forced kind she had been performing for months. She reconnected with friends she had pushed away. She started a small business selling skincare products online. She began going to the gym. She started journaling. She started to remember who she was before Chidi made her forget. Months later, a mutual friend told her something that confirmed everything. Chidi and Blessing had been together the entire time. Not just a one-time mistake. An entire relationship running parallel to theirs. And the worst part? Blessing didn't even know about Ada for most of it. He had been lying to both of them. 2 women, 2 stories, 2 sets of promises, and not a single word of truth. Ada didn't feel anger when she heard this. She felt relief. Because it proved that she wasn't crazy. She was never crazy. She was a good woman who loved a man who didn't deserve it. And walking away wasn't weakness. It was the bravest thing she ever did. Now here's what I want you to understand, because this isn't just Ada's story. This is a story that happens every single day. In Lagos, in Abuja, in Accra, in Nairobi, in Johannesburg, behind closed doors, in quiet apartments, in relationships that look perfect on the outside but are rotting from the inside. Cheating is painful. Yes. But it's the lying that does the lasting damage. When someone looks you in the eye and tells you that what you saw with your own eyes isn't real, when someone makes you feel insane for asking legitimate questions, when someone rewrites reality so many times that you stop trusting your own mind. That is a different kind of cruelty. That is a violence that leaves no bruises, but breaks you just the same. And if you're watching this right now, and any part of this story sounds familiar, if you're with someone who makes you feel small, who makes you apologize for their mistakes, who makes you feel crazy for wanting honesty, I need you to hear this. You are not the problem. You were never the problem. The person who makes you doubt your own worth is not protecting your love. They are protecting their lie. And no love, no matter how deep, no matter how long, no matter how beautiful it once was, is worth losing yourself for. Ada lost 2 years. But she found something more important. She found herself again. And today, wherever she is living proof that walking away from what's destroying you is not giving up. It's choosing to live. So let me leave you with this. The moral is simple, but heavy. A single act of betrayal can wound you. But the lies that follow, the manipulation, the gaslighting, the slow erosion of your trust in yourself, that is what destroys. Guard your peace, protect your mind, and never let anyone make you a stranger to yourself. If this story touched something inside you, if it reminded you of something you've been through or something you're going through right now, do me a favor. Leave a comment. Share your truth. Because someone out there needs to hear it. Someone out there is sitting in the same darkness Ada sat in, and your words might be the light that helps them find the door. Subscribe to this channel, because these stories, these real, raw, human stories, they matter. And so do you.